Hello, and welcome back to the Pocket Network Podcast, a podcast for real estate professionals like you to innovate your world. Each week, I'll be sitting with industry professionals to talk about hot topics, industry concerns, common challenges, and so much more. This week, we have Erica and Zack Greenberg with us. They are the founders and owners of SpinTop signs. They're revolutionizing the front yard marketing, if you want to call it that way. So, Erica and Zack, welcome. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, fine.
Thank you so much. You're great.
Of course. Thank you guys for coming. I actually saw your product on, it's a Facebook group for women in real estate. And I think, Erica, you had posted there. So whenever I saw the product, I immediately sent screenshots to my producers and I was like, this is so cool. And then we started talking about it and we're like, oh, they would be the perfect people to have on the podcast, even if they have nothing to do with real estate in their lives otherwise. So let's jump straight into that. Your background. Do you guys have any real estate backgrounds, or what do you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, in terms of my educational background, I have my bachelor's in psychology from UCSD. So nothing directly real estate related in terms of my educational background.
And my background is actually in engineering, also not directly related in real estate. However, we have participated in many different real estate type activities.
Okay. So when you say real estate type activities, do you mean concerning your previous positions in your job?
Well, let's see. When we first graduated from college, we purchased a condo. We were living in San Diego at the time. And we lived there for about a year to a year and a half and decided that we wanted to kind of attempt to rent it out and kind of explore the rental aspect of real estate.
Got it.
And so we actually moved in with a family member and leased out our condo.
Okay, that's amazing. That's, I think, the American dream. Straight out of college, buying your own place, and then once you're ready to move on, turning that into an investment property. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks. And that's really kind of what we've done for the last couple of decades, actually, because he and I have been together. We met when I graduated high school, actually, so we've been together a really long time. Okay. And we've invested in, bought and sold around 20 properties at this point in our lives together. So, I mean, although our education isn't real estate, our educational background isn't real estate, we've certainly been involved in the industry in
Yeah, very involved. So have either of you gotten your real estate license just to make life a little easier, or do you guys outsource?
Yeah, so in California, we decided that as we wanted to try and fix and flip some properties, that it would be a good idea to get our California real estate license. And so I went ahead while working as an engineer. On the side, I got my California real estate license. And that helped save quite a bit of money when we were purchasing real estate for investment purposes.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, and then we moved to Arizona, about 5 years ago, to be closer to family. And at that point, we decided we would kind of, continue the tradition of investing in real estate and having real estate related endeavors. And so this time I got my real estate license.
In Arizona?
In Arizona,
okay.
Exactly. So I have my Arizona real estate license. And we purchased 13 multifamily units here in the Valley shortly after we moved here. And we had a property management, we managed the properties and eventually sold them. So we've had real estate endeavors here with me with my license.
So you guys have done all the property management yourself? Oh, wow. And is that like a side business that you offer to other people or just for yourself?
That was just for ourselves. So
wow.
We've kind of done a whole...
That's amazing.
Of different real estate related type activities. But yeah, so we bought these 13 units and we managed them ourselves. We became involved in the HOA of the community and eventually ended up selling them. But it was just another kind of facet of our real estate career.
Yeah. So one of the main questions I had obviously was what got you thinking about property listing signs? How did you see a gap in the market? But now that I know you guys better, you guys have definitely been in the industry and you've done a lot, actually, not just California, but Arizona. And so you guys have a lot of experience. So was it something someone said? Was it a need that you guys saw when you were buying properties?
I would love to answer that. Let's see. So, I really think the idea came about here in Arizona. Okay. So it was once I got my real estate license, and I hung my license with a brokerage, and then I ordered my personalized signboard, and it was shipped to me, and I got it. And I was kind of looking at it, and I was thinking, all right, I want to be able to differentiate myself in the marketplace, and I want to be able to have my listings stand out when I do get that first listing, which I didn't have yet at the time. But so that was kind of when the conversation initiated, and we just thought to ourselves, what can we do to the real estate for sale signage that I put in front of my listings to make my listings stand out, to make me stand out as an agent. Okay. And that's really that's how the spark started.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it was all just part of your own business plan, but then I'm sure you realized pretty quickly what you had. It's something very different, something that can totally, like I said, revolutionize a simple sign. Who would have ever thought it needs to be fixed? People say it's simple. If it works, leave it alone. So I never thought those signs needed anything additional, but now that I'm thinking about it, if I ever see a home that interests me, whether it's a rental property or buying a home, immediately, even if I'm not going to buy it, what I do is I go on online, I Google the address to see what the inside looks like, because it's just interesting to me. So now I'm imagining if I could just walk up closer and see this 3D spinning sign that has photos of each of the rooms in the property. That's pretty genius. And also, I feel like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but this would attract, if you're having an open house, people that may have not planned on coming in, but now that they're at the front door, they're looking at the spinning sign, they like what they see, they'll just stop in.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And there's so much more to it as well. But I completely agree with you in that I had really you see real estate for sale signage. It's identical all the time. You know, I mean, it's always the upside down L, and it's looked the same forever, I mean, as long as I can remember seeing real estate for sale signage, it's always been the same. And so that's why we kind of thought that there's a space there for us, there's a space there for innovation and for something different. And so it was super fun to start to brainstorm with Zach, which we do a lot about many things. We spend a lot of our hours just brainstorming ways to improve life. And we thought to ourselves, okay, what is real estate signage kind of supposed to accomplish versus what does it currently accomplish? And real estate signage is so identical right now that you almost don't even notice it. You look right through it, you'll even miss a listing. And so we thought, okay, number one, like you said, we want the listing to stand out. We want to highlight the features of the property, the most saleable features of the property. If it has a great master bathroom or a great kitchen or a nice pool or a courtyard, you want those things to be front and center, and you want potential buyers to see that stuff, But also, you want to attract attention to yourself as an agent. You want the neighbors to see and notice the signage and go, wow, that agent is pretty cool. That agent is thinking outside of the box, or working extra hard for their client. And maybe when I list, I'll consider them, Also, I think we eventually realized that we could use it as an opportunity to generate additional revenue for an agent. So we thought, okay, if we create this sign, wouldn't it be so cool if we could have it be able to advertise third-party affiliates?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Lenders, title companies, home improvement companies, photography services. There are so many third-party affiliates that are wanting to be in front of buyers. That's their audience. And so it's also a great avenue for you to be able to lease out some of the space in the sign to generate revenue for your business. Because a lot of these signs, I originally thought that those real estate signs are when you're selling a home. But during the pandemic, I went on more walks in my neighborhood than I ever did before. And when I started to pay attention, it's just the management company, just letting you know who's managing the property, or if there's a vacancy for renters. So at this point, we're so sensitized to the signs that if there was something additional on top, you're more likely to look to see, okay, is that a vacancy? Is that an advertisement for the property management? What is it? That's so true. And it reminds me of another thing that we thought of that we wanted to kind of address, which was the flyers. The box of flyers that, like, whenever you're interested in a property, they're not there. They're like, inevitably they're gone, right? And it just seems so wasteful and just like it's an unnecessary, it's something you've got to, and so we thought, wouldn't it be so nice if there was like a QR code that you could scan and then the information was in your phone immediately, that would be so much more functional, and just ways to kind of, you're right, like to draw the right kind of attention and to make it easier and more obvious, just more automatic and more fun for home buyers,
because when you're driving on the street, looking at that sign, you would easily be able to tell if it's a photo of a room, so it's being sold, or if it's just an advertisement. And if you're in an industry, maybe you're interested, you'll stop to see who you can network with in your area. So immediately, your target audience is so much wider. Yeah, so just another question for you guys. I haven't looked at how the sign rotates. Is it something that you have to touch yourself? Is it solar panels? What is it?
Do you want to talk about the various iterations? Because that is kind of a fun...
It's an interesting question. So our original design had an internal motor that spun the sign automatically.
Okay.
And we did some experimentation. What we learned was kind of interesting. So at a speed of which somebody would want to read the sign, it has to be pretty slow.
Yeah.
And so, like, as you're trying to look at it and maybe read some information or see a picture of the backyard or the whatever you want to look at, it's moving away from you, and it's sort of unnatural because now you have to like chase the
run around with it. Yeah.
And so that wasn't ideal. And then for passerbyers in a car, it would be moving at such a rate that you wouldn't even necessarily notice that it was spinning at all. And so it kind of led us to, and that coupled with the fact that when people would approach it and not actually look at it, they would physically grab it and pause it. And so like the natural inclination was to hold it to see it.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of became obvious that the automatic rotating feature was not necessary. And so we kind of iterated from there. Mm-hmm. And so we added some vertical wings along the side so that if there's some wind, it will catch it automatically and spin it.
Okay.
And also, definitely you could just approach it and spin it with your hands manually.
When you look at it, you can tell the thing spins, and it's almost like more enticing. You're looking at it, and you're like, I just want to spin that. And so it brings people in for the closer look, and then they like to physically interact with it. And, we really like the idea of putting a QR code on there. And so you want to be able to swap it and scan it, and we like the idea of, like, we usually put in a panel that has home information. So it's got the address, the beds, baths, square footage, like a description, something that you could snap a photo of that would be the equivalent of what would have been the flyer in the flyer box. But just now it's on your phone and it's more accessible, and you can text it to your spouse or whatever and say, check this place out. I think it looks great. Let's schedule a showing.
And is it like actual physical photos in there? Is it digital? How does that work?
Yeah, so basically the way it works is the lid comes off and there's grooves for 6 images, and the size is 8 by 10. So essentially you print out 6 8 by 10 images, whether you have a home printer, an office printer, or some people do it at CVS or like a local pharmacy. And then they just slide them in and then go and install the
And thinking 6 by 10, that's a lot bigger than I imagined, because normal piece of paper is 8 by 10, so that's almost a full page.
Well, yes, and a normal piece of paper is like 8.5 by 11, and this is 8 by 10, which is like, when you get your kids' school photos or something, it's like the big one.
Yeah.
And so it is quite large, and it does show you that kind of, you're right, that as you're driving by, even from, the side, if you're outside of the sidewalk, you can still see the images, and you can even read larger font text, you know? So it is large enough that you can see it from the street. And then also that you get the details of the home, like, very well. If you're standing up next to it.
It's everything you need.
Mm-hmm. Which is so nice. I mean, you're looking at these thumbnails on a, if you're on your phone.
Yeah, it's much bigger than a phone,
You can't really see the place, This gives you a good idea of what the place looks like.
Wow, that's amazing. And also, I was thinking, so for any agent that's interested, they would buy one sign per home, and then how does that work? Do they charge the homeowner, or does the homeowner charge for advertising anything on the actual panel?
So I could go ahead and take that one. So basically what you're ordering is one SpinTop, so our invention, but it comes with our custom tailored post that affixes to it, or the SpinTop affixes to it. And so you can use that multiple times on multiple listings. So the customer really is the real estate agent. And so they would order one kit of ours, which would come with everything you need to get up and running.
You know, this is something that a real estate agent could include in their listing presentation if they've got a seller that they're trying to represent and want to become their client. Then they would include this and say, I have this, amazing sign, and I'll make sure that I highlight the best features of your property, and that it'll get additional eyes on your property. Really, that's the thing, right, that the seller cares about. They want to see, and sellers love, from the feedback that we've gotten here, they'll just be up at night, peering out their window, watching as passersby, as people are, driving by, slow down, stop, hop out of the car, check it out. It's nice for sellers to be able to see that people are showing interest in the property, and it gives them more visibility as to that interest and things like that.
Yeah, this is something that if I saw, I would immediately text my brothers and say, pass by this house on your way home and check it out, see what it has, because it's so different. I've never seen anything like this.
Another feature that we haven't touched upon yet is that it lights up from within inside.
Oh, wow.
And so we actually do have a solar panel atop of it and a light fixture inside. And so as the sun sets and then, it becomes darker, all of a sudden the pictures illuminate and they look really sharp. They really glow, and they also illuminate the signboard below, thus kind of bringing more attention to the real estate agent and also expanding the hours that people are looking at the real estate sign.
And I do want to just specify, because there have been some other lit signs, lit signs have been around, but we spent some time kind of perfecting the amount of lighting that really looked elegant, looked so classy, but totally unobtrusive. So it's nothing that neighbors would mind or would be irksome, to anyone. It's elegant. It's backlit from behind the images, and it looks so sharp at night. And just really, it's such an eye catcher. It's an eye catcher like no other, and it really it just draws the right kind of attention to the listing.
I'm imagining everything you guys are saying. It just keeps getting better and better. And for everyone at home, we're going to add a video of what it looks like, and not just during the day, but at night as well. So you guys can also see what this looks like. And so for anyone listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, go to our YouTube channel. We'll also link the SpinTop signs, YouTube, their social media, everything. This is something that everyone needs to see in the industry. We're always looking for the next new thing, and I feel like this is something that people might just throw to the back of their ear it's something small, but it's actually not. This is huge. I haven't seen anything like this in California, so whoever picks this up first, they're going to be the next big agent in California.
Yeah, so one of the pieces of feedback that we received that we're probably most proud of is that a real estate agent who uses our service and eventually sells their home, and then gets a phone call from the neighbor when they want to list, and mentions that they remember that real estate agent due to the sign. Yeah. And that's happened on several occasions where people have literally got another listing that they most likely would not have gotten without the help of the sign.
I mean, that is by far the best feedback. We're always thrilled when we hear that. But another thing that we've gotten is, I included this in my listing presentation, and I am just letting you know, I got this listing because I showed them the sign, and they lived on a street, they, in this particular instance that I'm recalling, they lived on a street that didn't have the best street lighting. And so they were afraid that the sign wouldn't get much visibility. And so having this signage, like she said, totally helped her to seal the deal and get this client.
That's amazing.
If something can help you even a little bit in getting an additional listing a year or a few listings, that's huge. That's
especially we talk about this a lot during the podcast, how it's so concentrated right now, the real estate industry. So many people are joining, whether it's to actually sell homes, to invest, whatever the reason is. And so, or they'll be posting on social media, and they might not actually be active in that career, but be posting it just in case they can make money on the side. So in such a concentrated area, how do you differentiate yourself? And this is one of the easiest ways where you don't really have to put in much effort after you purchase the sign and install it.
That is exactly right. I think one of our key kind of marketing points that we make to agents is that it is a marketplace differentiator. It is a way for you to easily stand out because it's so customizable. You can do anything that you want with this, for lack of a better word, the real estate on this sign.
Yeah.
With the space on the sign, you can do anything. So you can brand these images, and you can use the color palette that's in your branding, and you can incorporate the colors from your signboard, and it just looks spectacular. But it helps so much with brand recognition for people in the neighborhood. They're getting even more of that visual recognition of you and your branding and your brand, your company, your brokerage. And so that's invaluable. Being more memorable is such an important thing for a real estate agent, especially now when there's definitely, competition abounds.
Yeah, that's all there is. I feel like people also just take the competition a little bit too seriously, and they forget the networking aspect. But if a few agents were to get together and do things like this, whether it's speak to each other, come together to produce an idea that's going to help everyone, not just themselves, but that's also, for example, going to set you guys apart. So now you guys are forever associated with this creation. And if it was me personally, if I'm buying a home in Arizona, I'm reaching out to Erica before I reach out to any other agent, because if this is how her mind is working, how else can she differentiate my home and get the most for my money?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So actually, this kind of reminds me of a picture that we received from one of our customers, where they had our sign in the front yard of their listing, and it happened to be that the next door neighbor's house was also for sale, and they also had a for sale sign in that front yard, and it was just a regular one. It wasn't a SpinTop sign. And so the customer of ours took a picture, and it was almost laughable to see the two in the same photo, like the before and the after, ours versus theirs. And it was like a no-brainer. It was like, why wouldn't you? And they've been really, really supportive, and they've actually bought several of our signs and started a sign installation company in Rhode Island.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's an idea. So you guys are creating business for other people too, not just helping real estate agents.
Yeah, it's been enormously satisfying, that kind of component of the business, and something that we, you never know what to expect. You're starting a business, you've never done anything like this before, and then these things just sort of develop and grow. They have a mind of their own,
Yeah.
And so one of the most amazing things is we ended up having, we created an affiliate program for our business, because quite a few people reached out to us and said, this idea is really great, I want to help sell it, so we decided that we wanted to have an affiliate opportunity where people could get, on a commission basis, be paid for any signs that they sold.
Okay.
And so through that, we met, we've met some really wonderful, really motivated, driven people, which has been great, and it helps to keep you motivated too. And one of them is a duo in Rhode Island, and they're the Luca and Morano team with Remax. And so they're the ones they were one of our very first affiliates, and they ended up deciding we're going to start a company based on these SpinTop signs, and we're going to install them in our area in Rhode Island. And it's been so cool to help facilitate that, and to now we're seeing their marketing, going out in their area.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping, we have a page on our website that's all about the kind of the expansion and the other states that offer installation of SpinTop signs. And we hope eventually that there will be installation companies across the U.S., all of which install SpinTop signs, so that, not everybody installs their own for sale signage. So it'd be nice for those that have a company do it for them to have the option of having this sign too.
Yeah, and for big companies, that's very realistic. So for big companies that are posting or getting many customers every week, they don't have enough people that could go out there and do the actual physical work before the selling of the house. So I think that's very realistic, and this idea is so good that I know for sure everyone, once they hear about it, they'll be calling you guys, emailing you guys, and I wanted to actually ask about that. So how do you guys protect this, let's call it technology?
Yeah, well, we have patented it. So we received, we were so excited. It was just about 6 months ago now that we received our first patent of approval, It was...
Yeah, so we have an official U.S. patent through the United States Patent Office. And so, our sign is there. And as we've made modifications to that, we've made sure to also update any patent-related features so that they're all protected, that nobody could go and create a super
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. And for changing this design, so I'm assuming you guys did the design by yourself. How did that conversation start? Like, how did you guys decide, oh, I can do this? Is it the engineering that came out?
Okay.
What is it?
I know, it definitely was. That helped us along the way for sure. It's really laughable how it started, just the simplicity of it. And
yeah, so I can speak to that one. So once we kind of decided what we want the goal to be, like we wanted to be lit up. We wanted to display home images.
Cylindrical.
We wanted to kind of help real estate agents, distinguish themselves. So we took the pen and paper and kind of started drawing out some various sketches of what it might look like. Do we want to be round or square or different shapes and different styles? And once we kind of ended up settling on a cylinder and thought that sort of fit the real estate sign the most natural and it seemed to look the best. And so without further ado, we went to Michael's and we bought like a giant styrofoam cylinder and cannibalized one of our kids' robotics kits.
Oh, wow.
We essentially cobbled together a prototype. And so, we safety pinned a bunch of images on it and we made it rotate and lights from this.
So it was real high-tech stuff.
Yeah. The photos of the first iteration, the first model are quite hilarious to look back on now. But
once we built that and it kind of solidified that this is the approach, this is how it should look and this is interesting and that we think people might like this. We went to local plastic manufacturers and metal manufacturers and kind of designed what we wanted to look like and how we wanted to function, and then ended up building a small quantity of them. And from there,
by hand ourselves.
Oh, wow.
I just want to throw that in there because when we started here, we built them all ourselves.
Yeah.
By hand.
And so we decided our first attempt was that we wanted to start a real estate installation company, or a sign installation company, so that we could almost beta test the market and see how would they do? Do people actually like these, or is it just us, thinking that they're neat? And so we did some guerrilla marketing and we had many tactics, but one of which was going to open houses and just essentially building the sign in the driveway, knocking on the door of the open house and said, hey, come check out our sign. And once we got enough feedback that people really liked it, we started renting them out. And so we did that actually for a couple of years, and the company grew somewhat. And there were different brokerages that adopted it. Brokers Hub was one of them. So we have a company here called Brokers Hub that they use our signs exclusively, and anytime they get a new agent, they automatically call us up and we do all their signage. And then one day, one of our customers decided to post, unbeknownst to us, in a Facebook group that had a bazillion members. And I remember waking up and looking at my phone, and the number of orders that came in was way too many. We certainly couldn't handle it. And not only that, they were all over the place.
Wow.
And so
we got an order for a sign installation in Florida. And we're we had to write back to them and say, I'm so sorry, but we don't currently install signs in Florida. But we wondered where all this came from, so we had to search and find the
origin. Yeah.
And then we found this Facebook post, and man, it had just a trillion likes, and it was just one of our local agents that we installed her sign, and she said, love my new sign, spins and lights up, and just comments and so many phone calls on. It was just absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say, it blows my mind that you guys have been doing this for years and it hasn't become the normal go-to sign that everyone is posting. So I guess just social media, just people haven't heard of it. So her posting in that large group really lifted off the sales.
Well, yes, but to kind of clarify a little bit, we only had a sign installation company in Phoenix. So there was no way to buy them.
Yeah.
And so it almost made us pivot and focus less on the sign installation company. And we needed to come up with a version that we could sell, because the version that we had here, you have to have a giant printer, and it was very cumbersome to make. We couldn't ship them. It just wasn't scalable at all. And so we had to kind of switch gears and focus on a new design that we could manufacture easily, that we could ship to nationwide to whoever was interested.
That people could assemble easily and install easily, and
And so we went through that entire process, and with all the cargo shipping troubles in California, and just COVID and all these different issues, it took a long time to actually get to a point where we have a thing that we could sell. And so we actually didn't begin selling them until November of last year. So it's only been about 3 months. And so now we're really trying to kind of get the word out there and start selling.
Right. Now, it just really went, we released the product here locally. We had a small quantity, so we weren't really focused on growing because we knew we couldn't, handle that type of growth. We were focused more on making sure that our customers were happy and then getting honest feedback from them about how the product was working. Then when we got great feedback, we decided, okay, this is a great thing, it's a go. And then when we got, so much interest from across the country, we thought, okay, now we know we need to focus on something that can go everywhere. And then once we were able to accomplish that, then the focus became, all right, now we need to learn how to market to an audience like across the entire U.S., which is something we've not previously done.
Yeah, and it's really important that you guys already got the patent, you guys said about 6 months ago, because this, like I said, like I keep saying, it's such a good idea. If you had tried to go global before that or just international, then someone else would have picked up the idea, a giant with a lot of money, just mass produced and maybe even patent your idea themselves. So
Totally.
that's really smart to wait.
And when it comes to patenting, as soon as you submit your patent, you're protected. So it's not necessarily the patent approval date that matters, but it's when you submit your patent. And so we did that very first thing. And then, of course, because of all the delays with everything in the entire world right now, like it took a while, so I think maybe it was a 2-year process before it was approved. They come back to you, they provide feedback, they ask you to kind of fine tune, your
specify,
your and then you send back, and then so there's a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately, the patent was approved.
Okay, that's good. That's because we don't want to keep hearing these stories like 20 years later they make a movie of how this person is known for this product, but it was actually these two people or this one person that originally created the idea. So you guys are protected on that end. So another question. So for the Facebook groups that we're talking about, that's how I found out about your product, through a Facebook group. And later, whenever I went on your Facebook to message you, I stalked you a little bit, and I saw that you wrote that you said this is our newest brainchild. That's how you introduced the product. So that had me wondering, is there anything else that you guys had either you thought about or you went through with?
Well, I mean, certainly there has been a lot, and like that post was made on my personal Facebook account because, our families really know that we are like so entrepreneurial in nature. We always have been. Like, we just love to discuss these like just random ideas and think about different areas of business and what is lacking. I don't know. And so we've had so many businesses. Even in college, we had like a photo editing business where we would just like fix
enhance blemishes on photographs.
I guess it was before phones just did that for you automatically.
Before you can Photoshop using an app.
But back when we were in college, that didn't exist, and so we had a business where it was like, send us a photo and we'll correct it, and we've had nothing really real estate related. We've had various businesses. Zach obviously is a software engineer. He's created apps and sold apps, and
the senior citizen video.
Oh yeah, we had this great thing, Living Legacy Movies, where we were noticing that our grandparents were reaching like an older age, and we decided that it would be so nice if there was a company that would come in with like a list of questions about the person's history and their life and their loves and their first cars and their first houses, and videotape them and interview them and have this great keepsake that you could keep of your family to pass down to generations.
And did you guys end up doing it?
We did it for all of our grandparents. And,
for all of your grandparents.
At least we got it for ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, again, that we were quite young when we ventured into that particular business, but
I love that you guys actually follow it, because I feel like just sitting down with my friends, a lot of the times we'll be talking about something, whether it's a gap in the market, something we wish we had, and then we'll brainstorm something. Oh, if it was this way, or if it had this added to it, it would be so much better. And then we just forget and move on with our lives. We need more people like you guys that you go to Michael's, pick up some products and make your own little prototype. And even if it's not, like, even if your plan isn't to actually go through with it, just patent the idea, sell it to a huge company, and they'll lift off with it. So and then you'll be able to say, that's my idea. Instead, there's women that, like, simple example, women used to put their blow dryer on their eyelash curler. Now there's heating eyelash curlers, and they're posting online, oh, I've been doing that for 15 years. It's not novel. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but how do we know? Go out there, put your idea on the market, or just patent the idea.
Absolutely. I just saw the magnet. It's like a magnet for your bag.
Yeah.
And it just goes on the strap of your bag, so you can put it on like the stall door of the bathroom. It's like genius,
Yeah.
And thank you very much for saying that. And like, we are so proud of having seen it through to fruition. It's like, even if something, and hopefully you're right that it will become hugely successful, and we're optimistic that it will, because we do think it's a great idea and it works well. But like, even if it didn't, you just feel such a sense of accomplishment and pride for having had a thought about something that doesn't exist and making it exist. And then a couple of years later, we're getting feedback from people that say, wow, I love this thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, somebody loves this thing that we made. It's like another child. Like, it's amazing.
And not only that, to get it to a point where you could go to our website, click a button and say, yes, please. And money exchanges hands. A fulfillment center automatically gets a notification that they need to send this in the mail. Tracking numbers are created, like all the systems that needed to be generated to just do it. Like, to start off with a piece of paper with some scribbles on it, to this whole functional process that if we need to manufacture more, we could, send off a couple of emails to various folks and spin up and make even more and, build a whole engine.
Just setting up the supply chain is a huge deal.
Supply chain.
Stressful.
And then, to do all these things during COVID where there's like all this uncertainty and all these moving parts, and is the real estate market going to go up or down, and everyone's nervous, and all these different things that are happening, and to just kind of keep moving forward and get it all the way to the point where now, like I mentioned, you just click a button on the website and the thing will show up at your front door in 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. And, a lot of people complain about, like, let's say during COVID, not only because everything is so unpredictable, but also just the stress of everything. But I think for an idea like yours, I think it was the perfect time to release something like this during COVID, when real estate agents who used to think that they're solid, their business is stable, they're now reevaluating everything and wondering, what do I need to change? Looking out for what can I add to make my system more efficient? So this is the perfect opportunity for people that they've been doing good, but just adding something else to make it a little bit better, to make them feel a little more secure. God forbid anything like this ever happens again, where it completely upturns their entire living.
I remember I heard, maybe 6 months ago or something, that California had stopped allowing flyers. And I thought, oh, wow, how's that for timing?
Yeah.
And so there are some aspects of it that made the product like better in the timing. But honestly, with shipping, logistics, and just some of the nightmares that have, the cost of like vinyl,
everything.
I don't know,
Like every time we go to get a quote for a new part or a new thing that we needed, it was like, oh, there's a shortage of this particular thing.
Yeah,
so
right. Usually it's this amount. Now it's this times 5, and as a new business, and we're entirely self-funded as well. It's put pressure on us to be, to be focused and to make sure that we're making the right decisions the first time to the best of our ability. Mistakes are going to happen, but, we really have to be goal directed and make sure that we're moving in the direction that we want to be moving, so that money isn't spent unnecessarily on anything.
Yeah, smart business decisions, and most importantly, consistency, no matter what the market looks like it's going to be. Because no matter what, real estate agents, they're always the people that they set up their own schedules, they're go-getters, the successful people especially. So no matter what happens in the market, all of those people are going to try to innovate their business plans, to innovate their strategies, so you'll still have customers. And just actually, like, speaking of that, I know you guys said that real estate agents are your target audience right now, but has there ever been a moment where you considered or even marketed towards the homeowners? Because that totally could be something that they can have in front of their home. It's their marketing, whether it's an agency locally or their own loan servicer.
So not specifically homeowners, but we definitely have had conversations about other industries in general. So, I mean, the idea of having a product that displays images that lights up at night could be applicable in many different industries. Maybe, we're thinking restaurants. So if you're, waiting outside for your table to become available and you could spin it and look at images of the food or the menu, or I think there's a lot of different ways we could go with it. But again, as it just being the two of us, like, we needed to start somewhere, and real estate, that's kind of like where the idea originated from. And so we've been kind of moving forward with that.
Yeah, we're really focusing our energies on just a single right now, just trying to be, because it's one of those things where as you start brainstorming, you could just keep going and going and going. The potential.
There's so much you could do with it.
Yeah, right. And you could spend years, just improving it. And, and so we realized at one point that, like, we needed to just move forward with one application that we know works, that we know we have positive feedback about it. We're confident in it, and so let's just proceed with that. And then hopefully in the future, there will be a lot of other.
Yeah, marketing wise, when you think of it, that's honestly the best strategy. When you focus on an audience that not only needs your product, that can benefit from it, that has nothing else competing with it at the moment, but also just anytime you focus anywhere, even if it was a market that doesn't see an obvious need for the product, if you focus on that area, then you get to know them better. Also, your name becomes bigger in the space. So that's perfect. And for anyone watching, if anyone watches any of your YouTube videos or Instagram posts, Facebook, whatever it is, they'll naturally come to you, whether it's from a different industry, whether it's, I don't know, like, the moving cars now with the digital sign on top. For people that can't afford that technology, maybe this could be a cheaper option to have a little spinning sign on the top of their car, whether it's parked in front of their house, whatever it is. People will come to you naturally once they see your product and love your product. And even without looking at stats, nothing, I can tell this product works already. So I think big things are going to come for your company. So you guys keep doing exactly what you're doing, keep staying consistent. And I'm really, really excited to see in a year's time, in 5 years' time, exactly where you guys are at.
Thank you so much. We're excited to come talk to you again and have, like, amazing things to say about the wild success of our company.
You guys should totally go on Shark Tank, honestly. Like, these are the kind of ideas that I love to see on Shark Tank, where it's almost simple, but at the same time, not really, because it's so innovative. And you guys already own the rights to it. There's plenty of people that go on and say they have a patent pending or they just applied, whatever it is. So you guys are already halfway there. Just once you have the proof of how your business is doing, go on Shark Tank and make sure to shout out the Pocket Network.
Oh, we absolutely will. Promise.
Absolutely.
So we're on to the marketing. So I love talking about marketing aspects of everything, especially with people in the real estate industry, how they've completely changed everything, taken a simple platform like Snapchat Instagram, and made it educational with their lives, whatever it is. So just thinking of your past ideas, how have you approached this differently marketing wise?
Well, so first you have to keep in mind that it's just the two of us, right? So we're doing all of our, all of the business management ourselves, including marketing. And so really I'm our marketing guru. I'm
the marketing officer.
I'm the CMO.
Yeah.
So, I kind of realized right off the bat when we first started marketing, I knew that real estate agents really value, I think, like a one-on-one face-to-face meeting with another individual. So that was something that I kept in mind because, I was maybe sending emails out just locally to people that I knew, names that I recognized, and it wasn't getting very much response at all. And so I started with like the guerrilla marketing technique where I was going into the office, trying to get past the front desk and make it to, maybe the head broker, designated broker for for brokerage. And that was fairly successful. Like again, Zach mentioned that Brokers Hub here in Phoenix are one of our largest clients, and they're so great. And I met the designated broker, Nicholas Yale, there just by going into the office and meeting him. And, you know, sometimes just forming those relationships and having someone meet you and get to know you, they become more interested in the product just to see how, you know, see
And you're
what
more memorable.
Mhm.
If I see a picture of your product on a piece of paper or an email, when I'm getting 3 million emails a day, is that
Yes.
more memorable? Are you coming into my office and I actually see this spinning sign? That is definitely going to stick with me a lot longer.
Absolutely. And so we did have a good amount of luck with that, but the problem is, right, is that it's a major time commitment. And so, I mean, and then also I met them before COVID and then COVID happened. And then the idea of meeting people face to face became increasingly difficult. And so we had to kind of reevaluate from there. So like we had started out by doing open houses. We would just wait, you know, but then that kind of also dissipated during COVID. We sponsored continuing education classes.
Wow.
Did our love maybe
Was
2
that-
minutes.
Was that like in business programs with offering real estate classes? How did you kind of make that a little more specific to what you're looking for or the kind of people you're looking to include in your business?
So, I mean, you know, we would go to like the Phoenix Realtors Association or the Arizona Realtors Association, you know, and they offer continuing education classes for real estate agents that are renewing their license.
Yeah.
And so I knew that, you know, if I'm sponsoring this event, I'm likely to get, you know, there's 75 attendees that will be, you know, in this class. And so then I'd bring the product in and present it to them and then, you know, give my spiel. And at that point, it was just local sign installations. You couldn't buy it, but you could just rent it.
Yeah, that's a good number of people, 75 people right away seeing your product, talking about your product. So even if they might not buy, someone else at their agency will most likely want to jump on and try out the product.
Absolutely.
Much more effective than an open house, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's just one person. And so you have to really hope that that person is affected by it and interested. Absolutely. And what I've found is that things have been effective in such a circuitous or such a kind of an unexpected way sometimes, right? You just have to kind of be positive and keep an open mind, I think. So we were like vendors at an event here in Phoenix for real estate agents. And so I had a table, you know, and so throughout the day I was, you know, providing my marketing materials to the maybe 250 attendees at this kind of major event at a hotel. That's a 2-day long event. But also like next to me at the table next to me was Pioneer Title.
And are they
the title agency, Pioneer Title?
Okay, got it.
And so, you know, I got to know them over the course of the 2 days too, because we're sitting side by side. So while everybody's in at the classes, I'm chatting with them and getting to know them. And one of the ladies, Mickey, that worked there said, well, you know, once a month I host this breakfast at IHOP where people in the industry, you know, come in and talk about what's new. You know, we just stay up to date on the goings on. I'd love it if you came and brought it sometime. And I said, that's so nice. Thank you. You know, and so then I went into that much, much smaller event, but I got so much more focus from them. You know, I mean, the attention, like they gave me time to really show them what I could do, and they got to see it in person. And so a few people bought them right away that same day.
Oh, wow.
You know,
yeah, old-fashioned networking really, really works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just show up to an event, have coffee with someone, and you have their ear for whatever it is, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Right. And honestly, your product can take 5 seconds. Just show them the sign.
I wish it always took 5 seconds.
So just show up to anywhere you guys go. Like instead of your elevator pitch, just show up with a sign in the elevator. That's your yeah. You see it, it works, you love it.
Here it is. I like that. It sounds easier too.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of the more effective means. So we obtained some email lists, as you touched upon earlier, and have sent out kind of more some email specific to brokerages and on kind of a regular cadence. And we're kind of experimenting to see with that, what kind of response we get with that. But it definitely feels like the more in-person you are, the more kind of handshakes and those type of things seem to be getting a lot more traction.
Yeah, that makes sense in the real estate industry. And is there anything, again, marketing wise, for anyone marketing a real estate product, is there anything that you can share that really hasn't worked for you and you think it's because of what real estate agents like or don't like?
Anything that hasn't really worked for us. It's hard to always measure how you define if something actually worked or didn't work, because you don't know what it actually led to 4 steps away. And so maybe you post something on Instagram or Facebook, or you send out a mass email and you don't get a lot of traction, but you don't necessarily know what happened. Like maybe they forwarded that to somebody else, or maybe they forwarded to their broker. And so it's hard to measure what really did work and didn't work.
And just let's focus on that about emails right now. So do you guys use like some kind of third-party company to send out the emails? Do they record how many people opened it? Can they tell you how many people forwarded?
Yes, absolutely. So we have some software that I wrote that essentially on a schedule will send out a bunch of emails to various brokerages, but we leverage something called SendGrid, which is a tool essentially that sends off emails, and it measures all those things that you mentioned. So, click through and opens and all that, all the statistics. And so we do have data to that, and we could speak to that somewhat, but it's a little bit hard to know like exactly if it made it all the way to a sale, or if that person forwarded it on, or maybe they just texted to somebody. And so like you don't have all the linkage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So,
it's sort of like a shotgun approach for us.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to think about it. Is we're trying, Instagram and
Facebook and TikTok.
Yeah.
I've just made a TikTok account because I figured, the thing is good in video, because it's rotating. And so a few second videos might be an avenue that we need to explore.
Yeah. And Facebook, it seems like you guys already know for sure it works. Just before you guys started posting with that one real estate agent you guys spoke about that posted in a group, that resulted in a ton of orders. So
yes,
it did. And actually that brings up a good point that was kind of to answer your question about what hasn't worked. And so it turns out that the Facebook groups were very useful, and we did get a lot of feedback. But also, there's a lot of rules and regulations in regards to some of those groups, specifically around
self-promotion.
Yeah, self-promotion.
Promoting your product.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes, we try and post something and we get rejected. And they say, this is self-promotion. You can't post this in this channel. So we've run into some issues like that where
that makes sense. Maybe you have to act like you're just an agent and, hey, check out this cool sign that I've been using and I get a lot of clients. You guys should use it too.
Right. And so what we're trying to do now is for anybody who's buying the product, we're saying if you post about us and if you tag us at SpinTop Signs, I'll enter you into a drawing that we're going to have March 15th, this one, to win a free SpinTop sign. Because we want, I feel a little bit, false, trying to, promote it in a way that as though I'm using it. I really want the customers to be the ones that are saying.
You don't have to necessarily it doesn't have to be a lie. So you could just post on a Facebook group, say, this is what I've used. I've created it because it works for me. And I've noticed that, and then just look at your data. How many more sales do you have the year that you've been using the sign versus what you were doing before? Or even if it's reach out to the realtors or the agencies that have been using your sign, get their data and post that. Say, and if it works for these people, I want it to work for you. Because just speaking to you guys, it's only been about an hour that we've been speaking. And I can already tell you're not doing this for the sales. You guys genuinely want to help out these people. That's the kind of feedback you prefer versus I'll pay you double for the sign. It doesn't sound like it's about the money. So it's actually about helping people.
Yeah. At this point, the only profit that we've made is the profit of hearing from people and hearing this great feedback. And it is actually so satisfying just as a human being to know that you've helped somebody else's life,
Yeah, you guys have put in so much work. Yeah, to know that people are recognizing that and actually loving the product that you put in all this work to.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally been years in the making. It's been hours upon hours and years and blood and sweat and tears and all the things. And it is really fulfilling and rewarding to, even if it's something silly, like a silly comment on Facebook that says, wow, great idea, something like that. It really is.
It makes all the difference.
It started with a piece of paper, and now there's some random person across the internet saying this is an awesome thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty fulfilling. That's a pretty neat thing to accomplish.
And it's pretty cool that you guys got to do this together, because I know you guys have kids, and people with kids don't really have much time outside of work. So to be able to work together on something that's exciting for the both of you, something that you both have developed from early stages, I feel like that's also like a really great bonding opportunity for you guys as a couple, because you might not have time otherwise to do anything.
Totally, it is though. It's true. As much as he jests, it's absolutely true. Like it's been just such a good, like, challenging experience. Like, it's almost like when you go to an escape room with people you love, and it's like, things get kind of intense, and you're like, we've got 20 minutes left. Like, let's get to it. It's like that, but with real life. But it does bring you closer, and it teaches you how to problem solve like crazy. And it's actually been really fun. Our kids are 9 and 11, and we've been able to bring them in occasionally too into it. I mean, they join us on our sign installs. They watch us as we're updating the website and give us advice on colors and, styles.
Yeah.
And like, so it's nice that I feel like we're teaching them a little something,
For sure. I think there's something to be said about kids watching their parents work hard, and not just that, but enjoy their job, not just come home exhausted and tired of their boss, their work, whatever it is. And then the kids have this unhealthy view of work, I feel like sometimes.
Totally.
But to be able to see that you guys are working hard, it's worth it, and you guys are enjoying yourselves, then it makes them, I feel like for me, it would be more encouraging to find something that I truly love and to pursue that as my career. Yeah, that's amazing. You guys are doing amazing work. I wish we had so much more time to talk, but we definitely want you back on the show, maybe a couple months down the line, or maybe even a year down the line, depending on what your journey is, to talk about what you've been able to do. And I always love talking about marketing. So if there's anything interesting that you guys are doing, we'd love to hear about it. And everyone can reach you guys on all social media, correct? And on YouTube,
Yes.
We'll attach your handles, the links in the details for this video. And you guys are at SpinTop Signs?
Yep.
Correct, yes.
Okay, perfect. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed talking with me as much as I enjoyed talking with you guys and hearing about your idea. And
We loved it so much.
Yeah,
and
thank you. Thank you very much.
I promise you that we'll engage in a lot of new marketing techniques, and we'll have a lot more to discuss next time, because it's all about finding every single avenue out and exploring it. So,
Yeah, exactly.
More data.
Yeah, and I love it because this has also turned out to be an educational opportunity. So for everyone watching at home, just really take in the advice, listen, see if you can apply any of this to your business, because especially with marketing, it's not like a one fits all, but you can change their ideas, try what they've tried. Just with real estate agents, a lot of the times, like you said, seeing them in person, speaking to them in person, that's what works. So apply that. Don't get lazy, get out of the house, just throw a mask on. Things are hopefully going to be better concerning the pandemic. So put in the extra work. And as always, like we always say, change begins at home. So apply these ideas at home and then get out of the house and sell your product, sell yourself. You are your brand. Thank you everyone for watching, and come back next week for more.